The drive into Chernobyl was eerie before the war, but now there's a whole new layer of horrors. The gates, once visited by curious tourists, look to be the scene of a firefight. As we drive towards the number 4 reactor, the site of one of the world's worst nuclear incidents, there are more signs of the Russian forces that took up position here. They'd invaded from nearby Belarus and found themselves on a site that they were hopelessly unprepared for. Over here is where some Russian soldiers have dug their trenches. This is highly contaminated land and it shouldn't have been disturbed. It's certainly not safe to go walking in there, but this is where some Russian soldiers have spent days, if not weeks.
These occupying soldiers could have received a high dose of radiation on their bodies, which will give them health problems for the rest of their lives. So their lifespan will depend on how long they have spent in these trenches.
The International Atomic Energy Agency says there's more than 4 times the radiation in the disturbed trenches as there is on nearby ground, but it's still within the safe range. Ukrainian officials say some of the Russians who occupied the facility handled highly radioactive substances during their month-long occupation. But the town of Pripyat, abandoned in the wake of the 1986 disaster, went mostly undisturbed. The famous fairground still sits idle, surrounded by decaying hotels reserved for the guests that will never come. Pripyat would have to be one of the most unlivable places on Earth, so it's perhaps no surprise that Russian soldiers didn't waste much time here. The buildings here are empty shells and there are none of the comforts soldiers might have been looking for. They did take out the mobile phone towers and then they essentially moved on. They were more interested in Chernobyl itself, a town where it's safe enough to live, but only for a couple of weeks at a time. The workers here do shifts while they service the nuclear site. Engineer Alexander Skirta was on duty when the Russians arrived. He says they looted constantly, and what they couldn't take, they seemed determined to break.
We were very worried about what could happen. This is Chernobyl, a nuclear power plant. It's dangerous.
Even in Russia's retreat, the destruction continued. The bridges were blown on the way back to Belarus to stop the Ukrainians giving chase. Whatever radiation they were exposed to could take years to catch up with them. Nick Dole, ABC News, Chernobyl.